As a general rule of thumb, Cindra is pretty favored into the Brute matchup, especially when it comes to Kayo. Because of some of their cards not having block values, we can really get away with murder towards the end of the game. But we have to be careful because with the High Seas release, Kayo is now able to play Sea Legs. Sea Legs is a very powerful card that can generate gold rum tokens just based off Kayo playing their game plan out, which gives them the ability to like extend their turns and give more go again, which can really hurt us. Plus, once you get past the addition of Sea Legs, cards like Blood Rush Bellows and Savage Sash really allow for some pretty powerful game plans where they're able to go super wide with cards like Pulping or Wild Ride, really apply all the pressure and put us on the back foot. But the thing that they have to be careful with is that we're able to push Maska Momentum multiple times a turn using Flick Knives, and putting Maska Momentum on the chain can be very, very awkward for them because after we chew through their equipment, there's not a lot left for them to do. And even then, cards like, Art of the Dragonfire are great reach cards to like try and close the game out. And even then we have some tech cards like Art of the Dragonscaler to really be able to try and like get rid of their equipment faster and earlier throughout the game. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I hope you enjoy the match. All right, we're playing against Kayo. We are going second, which is kind of nice. Curious to see, it was like if they roll into anything crazy good here or not. Bear Fangs for 7. I mean, I think we'll just go ahead and keep the Ignite. I think the Ignite does a pretty good job of like really setting up power hands or like good, like efficient turn cycles through like this is a great example right here of like how Ignite's going to work with our Art of the Dragonfire to get a lot of value. Also, Ronin Renegade looking pretty solid here. But since we're on like the more redline version of the deck, I really, really like playing keeping Ignite if I can. I think it really brings a lot of things together and really makes just a lot of really, really powerful things happen. So I think that's pretty good for us overall. Plus, the Ignite keeps us from like having to like try to like utilize Flick Knives maybe at the wrong time and like gaining a resource when we don't need to off Blood Splattered Vest. So it can be a little clunky at times, but I think that sometimes it can be like weirdly clunky with like the red line version of the deck, but I think this works out pretty well for us. If they're willing to give me Scowling Fleshbag here on turn 2, I guess like on turn 2, like the first like real turn of the game, I'm more than happy to just go ahead and take that effect. I have totally botched this turn cycle by not cracking the fealty token with the Ignite trigger on the stack. So we are just going to pass because I totally botched this turn cycle. I played that wrong all the way around. That was just such a bad misplay on my part. Just played that really, really poorly. I think what we can do here is we can block with one of our Oath of Loyalties. I think we'll just take 7 on the first one. There's no reason to really do anything else here. Double Pulping. We can deny the go again here if we would like to. I mean, it's probably worth, to be honest. I think we'll just block like this, and then we'll go 4-3 into 7. Yeah, just a little, again, like that misplay last turn probably cost us like getting at least one more card out of their hand this turn. They pitched a blue, so like, I mean, they did discard a Blood Rush Bellow, which I feel pretty happy with, to be honest. Them discarding a Blood Rush Bellow feels pretty good to me because it really just like, it's a power card out of the way we don't have to worry about. I like having it gone. We are going to flick, target KO. When it hits, we are going to gain a resource. We're now going to use the fealty token, and then we're going to play Art of the Dragonfire, putting them down to 29, and then this is 5 physical on hit mask. So overall, a pretty good turn. Looking solid. Yep, they're going to block. They should have blocked with Scabs there. That was incorrect. They're not going to get the might value, so a little bit of a misplay for my opponent. I did not get my dagger back last turn. Clearly, you guys can tell that I am just all over the place with my plays right now. So if we manage to win this game, it'll be a pretty impressive feat, in my opinion, to be able to, win a game where just 2 small misplays in the first 4 turns of the game. Please take the sync below. Wow, talk about getting lucky, huh? We're going to go ahead and activate this to flick. I would like to be able to keep this alive. Seems pretty good to me. We'll probably get like one more card. They might give us a card here. I'm not sure, to like try and stop Mask of Momentum. But if they don't give us a card, we will get to push Mask of Momentum here, which is fine with me. They very clearly have a Blood Rush Bellows in their hand. A Blood Rush Bellow, like that is the only reason they would give up equipment like this, to just like try and deny me everything this turn cycle. So I very, very much so think that they have a Blood Rush Bellow in hand. Okay, so my opponent, they're just actively making the decision to play around Mask instead of like trying to go for like the big greedy hand. I honestly, I don't hate it. I think one of the things that Kayo does wrong is that like they just try to like greed the first chance they get, and then it's just not enough for them to win the game off of. So I think that hurts them pretty bad. But really, like, I think it was a good block by my opponent, especially blocking with like a red that way. So we're going to activate Cindra. I'm more than content to flick one of these daggers at them if they let this hit. Like, there could be a Reckless Swing. There could be a defense reaction here. But we have tied the life total up, gotten a lot of their equipment out of the way, and we have a sink below in Arsenal. So I think overall we are in a pretty good place right now. Wild Ride. Yeah, this is go again. I think I'm just going to go ahead and play the sink below. And I don't really think I'm going to put anything to the bottom. Our hand is pretty solid here. Like, we have 3 4-power attacks looking at our hand. So I feel pretty comfortable with this. We'll just go ahead and block with the flight path here. This kind of signals to them that we're going to use it even though we're not, but I want them to have to think about it a little bit. So we're going to start by cracking a fealty token to come in with Art of the Dragon Blood here. Looking pretty good so far. So Art of the Dragon Blood just coming in for 4. If they do block this out entirely, I will not flick. I will not respond. Do not want to jump into the trenches right here. I think this is perfectly okay. So they block this out. We let it happen. We're going to throw Rabble. More than likely, this will be for 4. There are only 3 blues in the entire deck, so I am pretty content with this having the 4 on it more often than it does the 2. And there's 0 yellows in the deck, so. All right, and then this is going to be Blood Runs Deep. Because of the Art of the Dragon Blood, we're able to get the value here and being able to like really just like utilize the Blood Runs Deep a turn before we've thrown the Blaze Headlong. So I know that we had that value available to us, which is really nice. This comes in for 2, which looks pretty clean. And then it's going to be 4. Now, this is on hit Mask of Momentum. I was honestly expecting our opponent to block a little bit more this turn cycle, and the fact that they didn't is surprising to me. So that is why we let the first one come through. I figured we were going to get 3 cards out of their hand because most players block early on in the turn against Cindra. Normally like Chain Links 1 or 2 trying to like really slow you down. And so I kind of figured we'd get an extra card here, but we did get the last of their equipment. So if we have another good hand we can put together, I think we're in a decent spot. Bare Fangs being for 10 is a lot. I think we're just going to block with Wrath of Retribution. I don't think we're going to have a great hand where we can really put this together. So I think that just blocking here is fine. And then we have the ability to go Ronin Renegade. Hopefully they block here. We're getting so much value out of them blocking like this. This feels very, very good for us. You love to see it, honestly. And then we're going to go ahead and throw the Hot on their heels. When they block here, we will flick the dagger. When this hits, I will utilize gaining a resource right here because I want to be able to use Cindra this turn cycle. And then we're going to come in for 4. This is on hit Mask. So now our opponent is in that situation where they have to give us Mask or give up both of their cards. You know what? I think this is worth just throwing this. It puts a fealty into play. It lets us get both of our daggers back. Like, I feel pretty confident with this exchange. With our opponent going down to 6, I am also pretty comfortable just blocking with Mask of Momentum on really the first thing that happens. This is perfectly fine with me. We're just going to take 2, go to 7. And then from here, we should be in a pretty good spot to try and close this game out. So it's going to be, I think Throw Dagger is better as Throw Dagger as opposed to a blue. Without Mask, we're really just looking to push damage here. It doesn't really matter what they do. It doesn't really matter. We're going to go ahead and throw the Cut Through here. The Cut Through is just going to be Draconic from the brand with Cinderclaw. So I'm probably supposed to use the Throw Dagger on the first chain link there. We are going to utilize Flick Knives here. If they react, okay, there we go. So that's fine. Like if they react with a Shelter, we have the Throw Dagger in response, which is pretty good for us. And then it's going to be Burning Blade Dance. This will more than likely get met by a 3-block. And by more than likely, I mean, if it doesn't, they are actively just dead. So we're going to play the Throw Dagger here. We have 3 Draconic Chain Links, so I'm just going to go ahead and activate this. And then I do not need to use the Blood Splattered Vest here. So this is going to put them to 2. This is going to put them to 1. We're not going to use the Vest. And we're going to kill them with the Ignite. So because they were on a race facing on 2 blocks and no blocks, when we got to the end of the game here, we were really able to close it out by just pressuring them, and they couldn't block everything we were doing. Turn 2 was kind of a whirlwind of emotion because my opponent had the kind of pump fake, like they were going to block with Scowling Fleshbag, and them blocking with Scowling Fleshbag would have been really good because they would have got Art of the Dragonfire out of my hand. Now, they kind of talked themselves out of it there a little bit, it seemed like. I'm not really sure what happened, but either way, them doing that actually kind of panned out because it gave me the ability to try and throw it at the end of the turn. Now, unfortunately, I did make the mistake there of not actually ordering things in the correct way. When I threw the Ignite with the Ignite trigger on the stack, I should have activated my Fealty token, meaning that when my Ignite trigger resolves, my next thing that I do is going to be Draconic because of my Fealty token, and I also get the Ignite effect. It was a really bad mistake, and that might have been why my opponent didn't block with the Scowling Fleshbag, because they realized I probably made a little bit of a mistake there. But either way, small things like that, and that turn I arsenaled, it ended up not costing me throughout the game, but still, it could have been really bad and cost me 7 points, and 7 points will lose you most games at a high level. On turn 4, my opponent does make the decision to block with Scowling Fleshbag, and I got really lucky because they took the Sink Below, which meant that I was able to play out my entire hand and arsenal the card that I wanted to arsenal anyway, so sometimes you're just better lucky than good. On the last turn of the game, my opponent died with a yellow Wild Ride in their hand, kind of going back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, where sometimes Kayo just has no blocks and they can't do anything about it. And fortunately, we were able to utilize that opportunity we had and win the game. Guys, if you see anything else you think I missed, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear about it. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take it easy, guys.